Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about loud music, which can damage your heart. Is this true? Can listening to music, which is something most of us do every day, listening to music in our cars, at parties, at the club, at home, cause damage to our hearts? We're gonna talk about that today. If you find this video helpful, please subscribe and share with your friends. So, what is the deal with loud music and how can it damage your heart? First of all, let's ask ourselves what is considered loud music. Well, it really depends on how long you're exposed to that noise. Anything above 70 decibels is considered a hazardous noise. You may start losing your hearing if you're exposed to these noises for prolonged periods of time. And this includes things like busy traffic, lawn equipment, power tools, and then also live music. Music played at a live concert can range anywhere from 104 to 129 decibels. This can actually damage your hearing immediately. If you're exposed to that for a long period of time, you can suffer permanent hearing loss. Now, when you look at things like headphones or earbuds, they can range anywhere from 10 to 110 decibels. Again, anything over 70, prolonged exposure can cause hearing loss. Over 85, prolonged exposure will definitely cause hearing loss. The threshold where it starts to hurt your ears is about 120 decibels. So, if you take your phone and you turn up the volume all the way, that is approximately 120 decibels. That is as loud as a jackhammer. It's as loud as a motorcycle. And anything over 140 decibels can rupture your eardrums, and that would definitely cause immediate hearing loss. Now, we don't have a lot of research specifically looking at how loud music affects the heart. But there was a study done in 2013. They looked at over 5,000 people in Denmark over a span of 5 years. They found that people who were exposed to loud noise like traffic or living close to an airport, they found that those people had an increased risk of developing cardiovascular disease or having a stroke by almost 20%. And they concluded that it was due to the chronic stress of being exposed to that noise over a long period of time. People that are chronically stressed tend to have higher blood pressure, and that can lead to issues with the heart and blood vessels. And while the study didn't specifically look at the effects of loud music on the heart, we can make some assumptions based on the fact that loud music does increase your heart rate and your blood pressure. When you listen to music, especially if it's fast-tempoed music, it increases your heart rate. And that is because the music is providing a stimulus, it's exciting you. Your body responds to that excitement by increasing your heart rate and increasing your blood pressure because it thinks that you're in some sort of fight or flight situation. You see, music has the ability to influence our emotions. Listening to our favorite song, it brings up memories, good memories that we associate with certain places, certain people, certain times in our lives. It elicits an emotional response from us, whether that's happy memories or sad memories. And the thing is, even if the music doesn't have lyrics, just the beat of the music alone can bring up these emotions, can increase your heart rate. And it's not just the genre of the music, but also the volume. As the volume increases, so does your heart rate. In a study done in 2016, researchers exposed participants to music that was either quiet or loud. The results showed that the group that listened to loud music had increased levels of adrenaline, noradrenaline, and cortisol. These are all stress hormones. Their heart rates were elevated compared to the group that listened to quieter music. This is why sometimes when you're listening to your favorite song, you might even get goosebumps. That is your body responding to the music, responding to the stress hormones that are released, responding to that emotional stimulus. Another study looked at the effect of listening to quiet versus loud music on cardiac autonomic balance. What they found was that listening to loud music significantly increased the activity of your sympathetic nervous system, which again is part of that fight or flight response. It's part of that stress response, and it did this through an increase in heart rate and blood pressure. And they also found that listening to loud music decreased your parasympathetic activity. And this is kind of the rest and digest response. This is what helps calm you down after you're in that fight or flight state. And the music didn't even have to be offensive or unpleasant. Participants simply reported that the loud music was just unpleasant. In another study, researchers found that listening to loud music increased blood pressure more than listening to soft music. In this study, participants were exposed to quiet or loud music while researchers monitored their blood pressure. And again, the participants weren't even listening to offensive music. They were simply listening to music that was either quiet or loud, and they found that the loud music caused an increase in blood pressure. Now, you might say, well, it's not that big of an increase. Yeah, I can handle that. But remember, small increases in blood pressure over long periods of time can have serious consequences, can increase your risk of developing hypertension, which can lead to heart attacks, strokes, kidney failure, vision problems, and that's just to name a few. And one last thing to keep in mind is that studies show that listening to loud music can affect your sleep quality. And we know that sleep deprivation causes an increase in blood pressure. Sleep deprivation causes an increase in heart rate. Sleep deprivation puts your body into that fight or flight state. So, not sleeping well because you were out partying, listening to loud music until 4 in the morning, it's gonna have a negative impact on your overall health. The American Heart Association recommends keeping noise levels below 70 decibels to protect your hearing and to protect your overall health. There is no exact recommendations from the American Heart Association on how loud is too loud when it comes to listening to music at home or in the car. But if you're noticing that your ears are ringing after listening to music, that's a sign that you're damaging your hearing. And prolonged exposure to damaging sounds can have serious consequences to your overall health, including your heart health. While we do and have specific research showing that listening to loud music will give you a heart attack or a stroke, we do have research showing that loud music can increase your blood pressure and heart rate over long periods of time, and that can have serious negative consequences to your overall health. If you are concerned about the safety of a medication you retaking, or if you retaking too much of it or too little, talk to your doctor. If you're concerned about the side effects of a medication, talk to your doctor. If you enjoyed this video, check out this playlist right here, and remember, stay happy and healthy.